This week, I want to talk about entitlement, specifically the general attitude of angry, entitled gamers that we're seeing more and more of. And I'm not just talking about people muttering harmlessly to themselves.
Pushy kids think they can tell me what to do in my house. I tell you, parents these days, they don't know how to rear children.
No, I'm talking about people sending death threats for things like game delays, death threats for day one patches and DLC, death threats for games not living up to ridiculous preconceived expectations, and death threats for reviewers not agreeing with those expectations. And just before I do get into it, if you are ever considering sending a death threat, let's go through this little checklist first. Number 1, should I send a death threat? F no. I mean, seriously, death threats. When did this become normal? Now, the reason I bring this up is, of course, No Man's Sky, which has been on a long, much hyped and often delayed path to release. And for some reason, some people figured that delaying their massively ambitious, interesting game to try and make it as amazing as possible for us to enjoy is a good enough reason to send death threats, which, just to reiterate, it is not. Sadly, such behaviour isn't just an isolated incident. Recently, Salt & Sanctuary developer James Silver felt compelled to take to his Facebook page and plead for some form of sanity after clearly being the subject of much hate and vitriol. The reason? The Vita port of Salt & Sanctuary is still in working development. And tellingly, in his post, James pointed out that over his 9 years as a developer, he feels gamers' attitudes have shifted from mostly good and supportive people to about 50% assholes. Of course, I'm paraphrasing there, but you get the gist.
I knew it, I'm surrounded by assholes.
Not surprisingly, this rise of toxicity over the last 9 or so years coincides with the rise of social media. We can now reach out and berate whoever we want with unheard of ease. It's a bold new age of entitlement and harassment, and it's sad that hardworking devs have to listen to this shit. And while we can all sympathise with that deflated feeling we get when a much-hyped title falls short of its potential, threatening someone's life over it is just not normal. These are video games, people. They're the fun, joyous forms of escapism we use to avoid all these horrible things. I guess what I'm saying is that more of us need to be the shining lights of fandom. We need to be the people that make getting up in the morning worthwhile for these developers. To quote some guy I don't actually know, all that is necessary for evil to prevail is for good people to do nothing. Or to quote someone I do know,
fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering.
We need to use this relatively new power of connectivity for good. If someone makes a game you love, let them know. If you're looking forward to their game, tell them what you're looking forward to most. If we let this vocal minority of whining jerks drown out the decent and supporting voices out there, many of these devs might just call it quits. Or worse, we're going to end up with games being designed by a committee of internet trolls. Something we're already seeing happening in another much-loved medium.
Y'all jokers must be crazy.
At the end of the day, we're not entitled to any of this. We're actually extremely lucky that talented people are willing to work so hard to create interesting and awesome games like No Man's Sky in the first place. And to prove that these devs are human, I'll leave you with a quote directly from Sean Murray's media release. "I don't know how you'll feel. I don't know if we can ever live up to the hype we've generated. Sometimes knowingly, often not. But if for one small moment I can make some people feel that they've stepped through a science fiction book cover, or to think briefly about the size of our universe, then I'll be happy with that." But that's just my opinion. Do you think gamers are becoming too entitled? Or should devs just get thicker skin and #deal with it? Abuse us on social media, and we'll discuss it on tomorrow's episode of Pocket.